Snatch Snow White, A Tale Reimagined. In Disney's latest live-action adaptation, Snow White, director Mark Webb doesn't just replicate the 1937 animated classic, he breathes new life into it with a fresh, Broadway-inspired twist. This version expands both the story and its heroine, played with grace and depth by Rachel Zegler. The film opens with an enchanting musical sequence, introducing young Snow White alongside her parents as they spread joy across their kingdom. From the start, kindness defines her character, but that belief is tested when her mother passes away and her father marries the enigmatic evil queen, portrayed by Gal Gadot. This queen isn't just obsessed with beauty, her vanity extends to power and influence, shaping a reign that punishes generosity. When Snow White shows compassion to a rogue leader named Jonathan, Andrew Burnap, the queen's magic mirror shifts its answer on who is truly the fairest of them all. In retaliation, the queen orders her huntsman to eliminate Snow White. As expected, the princess escapes into the woods, finding refuge with the seven dwarfs. However, unlike the original, the story doesn't just follow her journey. Back at the castle, the queen tightens her grip on the kingdom, and Jonathan emerges as a Robin Hood-like figure, creating a more dynamic love interest for Snow White. Webb expands the runtime to 109 minutes, using new musical numbers to enrich the narrative. Some moments shine, like an extended version of Hi-Ho that introduces the dwarfs individually, though only half of them get the spotlight. However, not every edition lands. Gadot's queen gets two villainous solos, but her performance lacks the vocal range to match the character's grandeur. What she lacks in singing, she makes up for with theatrical body language, exuding a menacing yet flamboyant presence. Zegler, on the other hand, excels. She captures Snow White's delicate mannerisms while adding a newfound strength, making her a heroine who doesn't just endure hardship, but learns from it. While most Disney live-action remakes have struggled to justify their existence, Snow White follows in the footsteps of Cinderella, 2015, emphasizing resilience and kindness in a way that feels meaningful. Yet, for all its heart, the film isn't without flaws. The CGI, especially the dwarfs, lingers in the uncanny valley, and costume choices feel oddly cheap for a grand fairy tale. While Webb attempts to contrast the queen's oppressive rule with the kingdom's former brightness, the overall visual tone remains too dull to fully realize that transformation. However, there are highlights, such as the queen's spellcasting scenes, which burst with surreal energy, and Snow White's haunting escape into the woods, reminiscent of classic Disney magic. The final act introduces even more characters, including Jonathan's bandits, crowding the story without allowing enough time to flesh them out. A notable addition is Quig, George Appleby, a human character with dwarfism, seemingly included to address past criticisms. However, the film's attempt to balance fantasy dwarfs with real-world representation creates an awkward contrast. Despite these missteps, Snow White succeeds where it matters most, its protagonist. Zegler delivers a performance filled with sincerity and thoughtfulness, ensuring Snow White remains at the heart of the story. Her kindness isn't passive. It's an active force that drives the narrative and shapes the resolution. Even in the climactic moments, Snow White doesn't win through battle, but through her ability to inspire others toward goodness. While Snow White isn't a flawless remake, it stands out as one of Disney's strongest in years. By embracing a fresh perspective rather than clinging too tightly to nostalgia, it delivers a fairy tale that feels both classic and modern, a story about kindness, courage, and the power of believing in something greater than oneself.